Wendel, one of Europe's leading listed investment firms, reports results for the first half. Frédéric Lemoine, hello.
Thank you for having me.
You are the chairman of the executive board of Wendel. What are your highlights and key takeaways from this first half, which was particularly active in terms of news flow?
That's right. It has been a very active first month of the year. I think we are very satisfied because we have solved the financial problems of the past. Of course, it has been a progressive process, but since the beginning of the year, in 3 steps, we have really solved the problems and we are able to look ahead now. First, we have completely paid back the debt that had been taken at the time of the acquisition of our stake in Saint-Gobain. It was 5.6 billion euros in 2009. It's zero since January 2014. Second step, later in the year in May, we decided to adjust the level of our stake in Saint-Gobain precisely to remain for the long term the main shareholder of Saint-Gobain, but enabling to free some funding for new investments. So we sold 24 million of shares at 42 euros per share. We get back 1 billion euros at the time, and it directly led Standard & Poor's to upgrade us at investment grade rating, which was clearly one of our strategic goals. An investment firm like us has to be investment grade, and we will keep this status and moving forward. And the third step was during the summer, or at least finalized during the summer, and it relates to Materis. Materis is a very nice company we had since 2006, but it was much too much indebted. At 2 different occasions, we had to refinance the debt in 2009 and 2012. And 1 year ago, in August 2013, we decided, we announced that we would sell various divisions, various activities of Materis. That's what we did. The effective disposal of Kerneos in Aluminates was closed in March 2014. The sale of Parex Group in the mortar division of Materis was done end of June, and we announced during the summer that we entered into exclusivity with LBO France, a private equity group, to sell our admixture divisions, Chryso, which should be done during the 3rd quarter of 2014. So from 4 different divisions that had nothing to do with each other, by the way, we reduced the scope of Materis to only 1, the decorative paints, which we will keep and develop in the future. From a debt of 1.9 billion euros, we went down to a debt of less than 300 million euros with a very moderate debt ratio of 4 times EBITDA, which enables to develop the group in the future. So it's solved. So we paid off the debt of Saint-Gobain, we were upgraded investment grade, and we solved the problem of Materis. I think that's a good result.
The net asset value declined in the first half. Is this matter for concern?
No, the net asset value is at a reasonable level of 127 euros per share, a bit more. I wish our share price would be at the level of our net asset value, which is the best assessed value that we can deliver to the market. So our concern is more about the discount than about the net asset value itself. It declined a little bit because of the slowdown of the stock market during the summer, since obviously the value of our listed assets are based on their current share price, and the value of our non-listed assets is also linked with the share price of the listed comparables. However, it goes up and down, but the general trend is clearly a strong growth since the 28 euro per share of our NAV at the end of 2008.
Bureau Veritas is an important stake in your portfolio. Is there anything to report there?
Well, Bureau Veritas is really our jewel. We have been shareholder of Bureau Veritas over the last 20 years, and we see no reason why we shouldn't stay very long in supporting the development of Bureau Veritas, because it's value creating. All the time there are new fields that Bureau Veritas enters by organic development or by acquisition. There have been 7 acquisitions since the beginning of the year to develop new geographic areas, like Bureau Veritas did in Canada with Maxam, the leader of the market, testing, inspection and certification market in Canada, but also in new niches that Bureau Veritas imagines and selects very carefully and very creatively. And by the way, Forbes magazine published very recently the ranking of the top 100 innovative companies in the world, and Bureau Veritas is in this ranking, number 50, notably because of their ability to expand in new areas, new fields all the time, which is a part of the value of the group. This being said, we believe that the organic growth of Bureau Veritas is very important as well. It has been lower than it used to be in the first half at 1.8%. Now it's rebounding progressively, probably 3% for the total year in terms of organic growth. With the external growth, it will make more than 9% for the 2014, the management said, and it will probably be higher next year. We are also dependent on the state of various sectors that are not always very dynamic, like the minerals, for instance, recently. In terms of profitability, it's very important to underline that Bureau Veritas is reaching the record level of profitability and plans to be at 17% operating margin next year in 2015, which is remarkable.
Coming back to Saint-Gobain for a moment, is there anything you would care to add?
Saint-Gobain is progressing well on the path that they have defined a long time ago. They have renewed their strategic plan end of 2013 to add some new ideas that they are working on, notably to develop their presence in Africa, to develop quicker their division in industrial materials like plastics, abrasives, ceramics. These are new directions that we fully support, as we fully support the management of Saint-Gobain, led by Pierre-André de Chalendar, who has been renewed as chairman and CEO of the company last May.
We noticed that you increased again recently your stake in IHS, which is growing dynamically. What is the outlook?
Well, IHS is really a case for a case study in a business school. I mean, it's growth. It's a case of growth development where we injected several times some new funds in the company, expanding the basis of shareholders to enable the company to grab some opportunities of development throughout Africa in 5 different countries now. From Nigeria, it went to Cameroon and Côte d'Ivoire, then in 2014 to Rwanda and Zambia. And the market is still very deep, and there are a number of opportunities that IHS can and maybe will seize. A new one has been closed during the summer 2014, since they have acquired more than 2,000 towers from Etisalat, the mobile operator. This will require new funding. And as for Wendel, we are ready in excess of our current investment of $475 million to invest more. We have already invested $200 million during the first half, but during the second half we may invest new fundings in order for our stake to remain the first shareholder of IHS, and also to enable IHS to develop further. We have other very top-class shareholders with us, be they sovereign funds or large investment banks like Goldman Sachs or the Korean Investment Fund or Macquarie, specialist in infrastructure. And it gives us some comfort, together with the World Bank. IFC is a shareholder of IHS, that we are right, having been quite ahead of the pack in supporting IHS.
And finally, as we survey all of the different companies in the portfolio, is there anything you'd care to add about the ones we haven't talked about so far?
Well, during the first half of 2014, they have all been growing organically. This is remarkable. Even those that are really focused on France. Some say France is not in good shape, maybe, but some companies we have are in very good shape in France. Like Parcours, for instance, has been growing by more than 9% in France. Mecaterm has experienced the highest order intake over 12 months that they have ever done, based in France and selling, by the way, to French customers for a large part of it. So we have all companies growing, improving their profitability, and probably the most interesting achievement is that of Stahl, our leather chemical company, that has been growing at 8% organically, and that has been able to implement a merger with Clariant Leather Services effective May 1st, and that is already delivering synergies even quicker than what has been expected. So we are very satisfied with Stahl, which is creating a lot of value these days.
And finally, do you have anything to announce regarding your policy of return to shareholders?
We are professional shareholders, so we do care a lot about our shareholders. We have a clear policy of increasing the dividend every year. We have increased our dividend by more than 5% in June 2014. It will increase again next year. And on top of that, we cancel 2% of our capital this year. That's exactly the same move that we had done in 2012, 2013, in order to give part of the discount back to the shareholders. Since there is a discount, they should take profit of it.
Frédéric Lemoine, Chairman of the Executive Board of Wendel, thank you very much.
Thanks to you.